Are you ready there, champ? So you are. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Real Estate Makes Us Drink. Brian Quinlan here from Daniels Real Estate.
Brad Nickham from Nest Mortgage Group.
And we have yet another guest this week. Introduce yourself, sir.
Alex Smith with TriAD Connected TV.
And I got to tell you, this is an exciting one for me. So,
You've been talking about this for a while.
yeah, I've been excited about it. I've known Alex for several years now. Actually, the way we met was pretty awesome. We were doing construction on my house and adding this barn to it. And I get this message from my Amish barn builder. He mailed something to me. And I got it, and he's like, he said, there's a guy here.
Did he have an accent?
Yeah.
Okay.
All of them, Yoder. Hey, Yoder, there's a guy here. So I came down.
He did. I remember that, actually.
Yeah. He sounded just like that. And I met Alex, and he was like, do you care if I look around, dude? This is awesome. And I said, no, check it out, So we talked then. He was an awesome guy. And then I gave him my business card because I do that for everybody.
Sure.
And next thing you know, he's like, I want to buy a house. So he bought a house.
And you bought one to help my father-in-law?
Yeah, I helped your father-in-law buy a
I'm
house.
2 houses in with you.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, you're 2 houses in and a father-in-law's
And
house.
a father-in-law.
And I got to say, your father-in-law is an amazing guy. I mean, your wife is amazing as well. So, and you're pretty damn amazing too. So,
wow.
Thank you, Brad.
No worries, everybody. So we had a guy on the other day that talked about passwords and connectivity for your home. And one of the things that
Alex also.
his name was Alex as well. Yeah, his name's not Smith though. At the end, it's a little harder name to pronounce. I don't remember. So that was all interesting stuff. And then when you talk about security and the internet, and if you've ever wondered, like, someone next to you says, Brian loves pickles, and Brian says, I do love pickles.
I do.
And
I love pickles.
And Alex says, I love pickles too. And then for the next 4 days, the only thing that shows up in your feed are pickles. Spicy pickles, little pickles, big pickles.
Pickle moonshine?
What are little pickles called? Gherkins.
Gherkins.
Yeah. So all of these pickles show up, and you're like, man, I swear they're listening. And that's the name of the show, Are They Listening? And Alex is here to tell us that, yes, they're listening, and he's going to tell you what they do with that information. Right? Pretty much? Kinda?
We can talk about it. That is for sure.
But there's like some things you can't talk about, right? Like the Skull and Crossbones Society. You know what it is,
skulls?
but we can't talk about
I'll
it.
talk about it all day long. Let's get into some conspiracies.
Yeah, but you're not in it. You didn't go to Yale.
No, we can talk about it, but not only we talk about it, but actually that we all like it.
Yeah,
that's the twist on it.
As long as we talk about it and like it, and it's not something that gets us murdered later.
Yeah,
Yeah,
please.
well,
good
fair enough.
thing people don't actually watch the show.
The CIA's listening, though.
100%.
All right.
100%.
Yeah.
Before we go that route,
we need to talk some drinks,
We got drinks here.
Cheers.
Welcome to the show, Alex.
Cheers.
What are you drinking today, Brad? I know you got a new tequila over here. It's very exciting.
I do. J Bear from Bloomington. It's a select bottle. Sergio Cruz from 1414 Master Distiller. It's It is phenomenal.
Is Jay Bear watching our show yet?
I doubt it.
All right.
We're going to keep calling him out till he does. He actually knows J Bear too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I know. I actually never met him, but I know of him.
Yeah, he's famous dude.
Yeah. Excellent. In the marketing world.
It's a reposado that has been aged actually in 10 months in Caribbean rum barrels. So you have a whole different twist to it. So pretty good. And because I think John Daly's a badass, this is John Daly's new tea.
Good boy vodka.
Good boy, yeah. Because, he's always been a good boy.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
That John Daly's known for.
Oh, he's just a nice, down-home, wholesome fella.
There you go. So today I got Windmill Kolsch from Dyer, Indiana, and I had to have Brad read it because it's such fine print.
Like I'm the one that can read well.
Well, you got glasses on. I was hoping maybe that would work, but it did. So, just typical Kolsch beer for me, and it's tasty.
What's a Kolsch?
I don't know. Kolsch, I'm sure, is a German word.
Sounds German.
Right? But beyond that, I
Yep,
got
it's a derivative of a lager.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. I used to do a lot in the beer industry.
Well,
that's a whole nother story.
I knew Alex was going to bring not only some really cool stuff, but a plethora
versatility.
of
You know what the nice
information.
thing is? I said that with such confidence that even if that wasn't true at all,
everybody
we're
believe
all
you.
in.
I'll
Yeah.
just say my wife has a theory. She says often, if you say something with enough confidence, people will believe it.
Yeah, yeah.
If you act like you know where you're going, they'll let you get there.
There you go. So, Alex, what are you drinking today?
I am doing bread and butter, which is Woodford Double Oak.
Good stuff.
Bourbon, little ice. I did.
mean, BYOB here for
He
the
did.
show today.
You don't show up and not contribute to the wall.
He's right here. He's contributed to the wall here. He contributed this amazing vodka that I think was made in northern Indiana, right?
The vodka?
Yeah, it was a blue bottle of vodka
Oh,
you
yeah,
brought
yeah, yeah,
to a party, and I think you said it was northern Indiana
Yes.
somewhere.
Streven
Yes.
vodka.
It's not up here. It's on that wall in
Warsaw,
there.
Indiana. Yeah, that's correct.
It's all
Yep.
been drank. That
Yep.
didn't hang around.
That was
very long.
solid.
Good stuff.
It's
It was
solid.
good vodka. Yeah. And he also had some tequila. I gave him some Siembra Valles High Proof, and he thought that was awesome. And then some Cascawin Tohuna, which is also great stuff.
So I'm all loose and ready to talk.
You absolutely
Yeah.
are.
All the secrets.
That's why I thought maybe we get all the secrets out tonight.
All right. How about, since we have the advertising for TriAD Connected TV here, let's talk about that.
Let's do it.
What does your business do?
We do targeted television advertising.
Wait a minute. That goes back to what he was talking about. Targeted advertising.
That's right. So we all know Connected TV. We've been streaming for years. Netflix came out almost 15 years ago. But during the pandemic, we all burn out of content. So what did we
Right.
do? We left broadcast, must-see TV turned off, and writer strikes, all these different things that happened over the course of 2 or 3 years. And so we had to look to alternative sources for entertainment because we're stuck in the house. And everybody moved to streaming. So it went from representing about 15% of all television consumption to today, it's about 55% of all TV is consumed through connected TV.
Yeah.
And a connected TV is just any TV connected to the internet.
Which is most.
Most, right.
Which I can see that we just bought a new TV Prime Day.
Oh, good for you.
Had a TV that had like 40 little blip lights in it, so it looked really bad. It was harder to get it connected to the cable because as soon as you turned it on, it totally drove you to all the streaming services and everything to sign
Right,
up for.
yeah.
But to find a place, it was actually called Connected Devices.
Oh, man.
And then once you got to that, you could go across to find where your cable came in. It took me like an hour just to figure out how to get cable to work.
Yeah. But so
And
we
that
call it
shows
cable.
how everybody's doing
But
it.
your TV called it what?
Connected Devices.
Right. So
Yeah.
actually all of the cable inventory that you're watching is also connected TV that we have access
See, I love that. I could show up on some of those shows.
to. Right. Exactly.
Okay.
Nice.
So when you say targeted, it goes back to the thing that Pickles are going to show up on all his shows because we talked about them
Look
because
forward to it.
they're listening, right?
Right. Right. Yeah. So, I mean, we know everything we do. Sans a VPN. I listened to a little bit of that last podcast, Alex's Unite. And, you know, the funny thing is that we all don't want to be tracked, right? We keep talking about that. iOS 14 on Apple kind of changed the game on that because now you have to opt in or opt out every time that you grab a phone or download an app. But the reality is, you would be really frustrated if every time you watch TV, you were seeing an advertisement for the best restaurants in downtown LA and you live in Indianapolis.
True.
That would be very
Absolutely.
frustrating.
Yeah.
Like, I want to go there, but I can't. It'd be very annoying. What you want to see are relevant advertising that's relevant to you. That's something you're interested in, whether it's outdoors, sporting goods, whether it's shopping, whether it's travel, whether it's going to the highlands or the lowlands to learn about tequila, right? And then all of a sudden, the advertising becomes just as interesting and as valuable to you as the content. So we actually do like it, right? Think about when we watch television. When there's a good commercial, we all talk about it. Television is the center of our life.
Yeah.
Large
So
format,
true.
in the middle of our home, in the living room, in the kitchen, in the basement, in the bedroom. It's like that's where we celebrate Christmas and our holidays. That's where we share about the passing of the family dog, right? It's intimate. You're in that
is.
space together. And so that's where you're hearing this information. So there is no greater form of communication than television when it comes to advertising because you're reaching somebody in a very intimate place in their lives, right? Where they live life.
And do you feel their guards down more because it's in that situation?
Yeah, I think you're part of a conversation. You get to be part of a conversation that you don't. When was the, okay? Let's try this test. I always try this. What was the last time? Let's just say, what's the last television commercial you saw that you remember today?
It was a Dr. Rick
Okay.
progressive commercial.
Oh,
I,
those are so good.
I just love those.
Yeah.
They're so good.
I seen it. It was on this morning. So I
Ryan, what's the last one?
I honestly cannot think of one. Yeah.
Let's just, well,
he's
let's
a
be honest.
realtor, so they
This
do a
just
lot of
ruined
golfing
everything.
during the day.
The entire model just blew up in my face.
No, he does a lot of fishing and golfing.
As you're
and-
listening, you could probably name them, right? The ones you saw this morning,
Dr.
this
Rick.
afternoon, yesterday.
Well, I mean, he just had to say Dr. Rick.
Yeah,
I knew
sure.
exactly what you're talking about.
So what was the last social ad you saw? You don't care.
For sure.
You can remember that your Aunt Susan, is fishing, and that your nephew or your niece, just turned 9. You saw that on Facebook. Hopefully
Right.
you're at the birthday party.
Said happy birthday.
Right.
Yeah.
But you don't necessarily remember. So it's a completely different environment, right?
Right.
That relationship. Because since we were children,
Right.
we've been watching these ads.
Oh, there's themes from commercials that you can play a few notes of it, and you're like, oh, that's the Campbell soup commercial.
Yeah,
Or,
that's
you know,
right,
stuff
yeah.
when we grew up as kids.
Yeah.
Those are so ingrained.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so from a strategy perspective and from a world perspective, when you're a consumer and you're living your life, or if you're a marketer or a business entrepreneur, someone trying to get their word out, from big brand to local, used to be television was national or
Yep.
maybe regional, right? So you
Right.
come in and say, I want to do Indianapolis DMA, and I'm going to go to Wish TV or, whatever these stations are, and we're going to
Right.
broadcast to 1.5 million people.
Right.
But if you only want to reach 3,000 people in Indianapolis and 2,000 people in Detroit and 700 people in between, you can do that now. So television ad that used to be completely off the table wasn't a medium that
Most
would
people
have
could
ever going to
afford.
convert for you.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Now all of a sudden, it's completely relevant.
And more, like he said, more affordable.
Oh, way more affordable,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, because
It's
you're
not
not
like the-
buying 1 million impressions in the homes you don't want and only 5,000 into the homes you want.
Right. Yeah. But then, do the Super Bowl ads really work for people, or is it so much money spent for all of the promotion of the commercial coming up and all of the talk about the commercial when it's over? That's really where the money is. It's not really the commercial, right?
Yeah, I mean, yes and no. It totally depends on what the call to action is on the commercial.
If it's just branding, then it's good.
Yeah, and it's also about knowing your audience. So used to be, the thought was everything has to be entirely produced
Right.
and high level. If I'm going to buy a television ad, it had better be the best shots, the best actors, the funniest lines. And then you have Kanye, at the Super Bowl with his phone. He shot an ad in his car, right? And he's talking. You can barely see him. He spends $5 million for the ad. And in 12 hours, he did $30 million in sales on the site.
Gee,
Yeah.
Christmas.
So to answer your question,
Yeah, they
it
work.
totally depends on what you're trying to accomplish.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, to that question, I don't personally believe that much of that works at a Super Bowl level. But when I think Super Bowl commercials, there are certain brands that I always expect to see.
Yeah.
Doritos.
Yeah.
Doritos,
Bud Light.
Budweiser, Bud Light, Coke,
E-Trade.
Yeah.
E-Trade, yes. And some only come out at Super Bowl. E-Trade.
Yeah.
E-Trade is the only time we ever see it.
Yeah, or GoDaddy.
Yeah. And E-Trade was the one with the
There's a baby.
QR code? Do you remember 2 years ago?
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
All it was.
Just one QR
no
code.
brand, just a QR code bouncing around. What are you going to do?
Yeah, you're gonna see it.
scan it.
Yeah,
Come
you're
on,
going to.
As you're waiting for it to hit the corner.
Yeah. Yeah,
And I had those
exactly.
dots in the TV, so
Yeah,
it didn't
that's
work.
exactly right. But those brands understand television over time and any sort of that. It's all about visibility and availability of the brands. I always say McDonald's, right? It's like everybody says they don't need a McDonald's, but everybody eats a McDonald's. The revenue's coming from somewhere,
Right.
It
right?
is.
And they do billboards, they do television advertising. Why? You're sitting in line, and if the drive-through attendant said, "Hey, why did you come here today?" You wouldn't say, "Well, I saw your ad last night."
The billboard on post.
Yeah, well, I saw that soda and I was so thirsty. No, it's not the way it works.
I'm so glad he does voices, because I do too. I fall into voices.
That
like
constant
too.
visibility and availability of the brand, when you have to make a decision, it's top of mind. Yeah.
And as a big company, when you have a lot of money for advertising, branding's easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, because I'm not doing a call to action. That means I'm going to spend the money on this ad, and you're not necessarily going to call and do a deal with me.
Right.
But if you're putting yourself out there to brand yourself over time, and you're expecting that customer to now realize that just because Coca-Cola is singing Christmas songs and Coca-Cola is doing all these other things, you buy Coca-Cola over Pepsi because you see the brand and you like what's behind the brand. The commercial didn't call you to go buy it.
Right.
So it's building the brand behind what you do.
Yeah. And here's the thing with Coca-Cola is it used to be television was everybody can drink Coca-Cola.
Right.
So television made sense for Coca-Cola.
Right.
Right. And what if you're a B2B brand? Or what
Right.
if you're a very niche solution? Or what if
That's
you're
business to business, just so you know.
I
Yeah,
absolutely do.
ease in, yeah. And or what if you're a auto shop and you only service maybe 1 or 2 zip codes of the people who live around you?
Right.
Right? Television doesn't make any sense at all.
Correct.
But now it does.
So
Yeah.
it does now, because what you're saying is if I own a small local, say a Range Rover shop, and I want to do a commercial about my Range Rover shop, but I'd really like it to only go to people that have Range Rovers
In
Right.
the
in the
local
area around.
5
Right,
zip codes.
right.
So you can do that?
Yeah, so let's talk about data collection.
Okay.
So this is where the Big Brother concept comes in that we were talking about.
And just so you know, I opt into all of those
Yeah.
because I don't like to look for stuff. I want my computer
right.
to show me what I want.
Nice.
Yeah, so we
Except
always
all cookies. I don't care.
Yeah, we always trade off privacy for convenience.
Right.
That always happens from the first day we had any sort of technology.
We don't even put curtains on our windows for privacy.
Yeah, it's like if you want
We
to look in
didn't
the
care.
house, you're going to see what you're going to see.
In the middle of nowhere. It's fine.
It's family style. But with big data, so everything you do online, all your searches, any website you go to, your credit card transactions, if you think it's private, it's 100% not. Everything is sold. Okay.
Excellent.
Let's just accept it.
Brian just was like, great.
Now,
This is great.
He's going to get a lot of Adam and Eve things on his phone tomorrow.
Talking about it. Let's go.
now, in practice, what really happens is, Brian, your online activity, anything that happens at your house, what you watch on your TV, what you search on your phone or your computer, is completely anonymized down to a device ID. So I don't necessarily know if I looked up and said, I want to see what Brian's doing. The NSA might be able to do that, right? But that's not what big data does. Big data is looking for all the big data so that if you say, hey, I want someone with the credit score of, we work with a lot of banks and credit unions. And if they have a great rate on an auto loan or they have a great CD rate, right? 6% and it's 12 months, right? Going to turn that around. Well, you don't want to target people who have no money.
400 credit scores.
right.
Right.
Or no credit score. So pre-qualify with that. It's more relevant to them. It's more interesting to them. There's value there. So they appreciate that. And so you can, every dollar then spent in advertising builds a better brand experience.
Fortunately for him, his phone ID is Brian Quinlan's phone. So you can look him up.
You can.
directly. Yeah.
There you go.
Busted.
I don't think it does say that.
It does say that. Yeah, when you call me, it says Brian Quinlan's phone.
Oh, well, there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did my face pop up on your screen?
Your face doesn't only pop up, it just kind of jumps out.
You're welcome.
Yeah, it's awesome.
But all that big data is out there. Everybody shares. All your credit card transactions are all shared, right? Now, not to your name, but so the way this works is if you have a device ID, and I'm sharing all the secrets, so follow me on this. My phone, I said over here, my phone has a device ID, just like a social security number, but for that device. And let's say I'm doing research on that or traveling for a vacation. Let's talk about that. I'm going on vacation and I'm going to go to Alaska and I want to rent an RV and I want to spend 2 weeks with my family. Okay, so I'm looking that up.
It's a good trip.
And while I'm doing that, that device ID is tracking all that behavior that's shared. And then I go to Travelocity and I buy a plane ticket to Alaska on my Visa card. Okay. So Visa sends that off and says, hey, this device ID just purchased a transaction to buy a plane ticket from Travelocity. And then they pair that with, I did all the research for Alaska, and I bought the plane ticket 2 hours after that. And then let's say I'm a travel agent, and I'm trying to find, or let's say I'm an RV rental company in Alaska, and I'm trying to find people in the mainland who are planning this trip. You're not going to advertise to everybody, because out of 280 million people, there's only a few thousand, right?
Yeah, as with the group
that are
that you're
actually
looking
doing
for.
that. But now if I go to an ad platform, let's say like TriAD, and say, hey, I'm trying to find people who are planning a trip to Alaska, I can now go to those data providers and say, show me people, give me a list of people. When I say people, I mean
IDs.
IDs. I don't know your name. But give me a list of people who qualify, who have purchased a plane ticket to Alaska, who have been researching Alaska, who have a family, and have an income of over, let's say, household income of 100,000 or greater.
And they don't have a manifesto.
That's right. Now all of a sudden, I went from 280 million down to 30,000 people that I can reach this month.
And then you target that group.
Yeah.
Okay, so taking all of that information, and you say it's not attached to someone's name, it's attached to the ID on their phone. How do they create an ad that goes to the phone if it's not attached to my name? Like, how the hell?
That's a good question. So, next level. Let's keep following this.
I like it.
All right, so you have your phone.
I told you this would be
Here's
a good
this
one.
list of IDs. And now all of a sudden, I want to serve you a television ad. So how do we figure out? Well, this is a good example. Let's say this is Brad's living room. I want to serve an ad right here. And Brad's done all that research. So he has his phone ID. And Brad also happened to sign into his Amazon Prime account on his phone. And there's his billing address. Okay. And that billing address is the same as the billing address on the card he uses to pay for Netflix when he signed into that television. And
Now
now,
you
all of
know
a
what
sudden,
it is.
it's called an identity graph and a cross-device graph. So I just identified Brad as that mobile device has done the activity to qualify as Brad's traveling to Alaska and he's with a family and he's trying to rent an RV to, oh, this is
And he's
Brad's
watching
television
smut
in
on
his
his
living
TV
room.
in the living room.
Right.
Okay.
That's insane.
I think an obvious question that if Stephanie, my wife, is watching this, she's going to say, how is this okay?
Why isn't it okay? You bought the stuff, you signed
No,
in, somewhere you checked a box that said you were going to do it,
Yeah,
and
but people are still going to ask. You're absolutely
Yeah,
right.
so-
you didn't read the
There
9,000
you go.
word thing when you said
So what
yes.
I will say is that we don't do this as an organization. We access this data with relationships to those big data providers. Okay. What we do is we provide a platform for businesses and individuals to execute on that to grow their business. But the big differentiator between, hey, is this okay or not okay, is PII, which is personal identifiable information. And a device ID is not PII.
Okay. Yeah.
A device ID is some anonymous device ID that said this behavior happened.
Yep.
And let's back to that original statement I had, which is we all like relevant advertising. We're really annoyed when it has nothing to do with us.
Yep.
Like political season.
Yeah.
I don't like any of them. Just get those off my TV.
But if I'm online all the time, and again, back to that, if I'm seeing ads for a restaurant in LA that I'm never going to get to go to,
Right? Why?
I would much rather see what's the new spot in Broad Ripple, what's the new spot in Carmel or downtown, or right.
Casa Santa, Mexican restaurant
go.
at
Right.
Hamilton Town Mall.
Yeah.
Go there. It's amazing.
I'd much rather know that.
Right?
Right? So I can now engage with that. That's relevant to me and make a trip. Or if I am planning a trip to Florida, I would much rather hear about the fishing charter that's 1 mile away from the hotel that I'm staying at.
Sure.
Because now that's relevant to me and it actually increased and enhanced my experience and my planning, made it easier for me, and we had a more enjoyable vacation.
And increase the likelihood you were going to use that particular service.
There you go. Yeah.
And
Money well spent.
you ask if it's how's this okay? You realize that every time you get your registration at the DMV, they're selling all of the
Oh,
information
yeah,
from the
yeah.
DMV.
Yeah.
They sell it all without asking you at all.
Well, damn.
But do you realize if they quit, to compensate for the revenue that the DMV makes doing that, they'd have to more than double the price of the registration
Sure.
of your
I
vehicle.
did not know that.
Yeah. So we all get this, right? So you buy a car, and you're like, I never registered my car with Cadillac. But then 2 years later, you get a postcard in the mail that says, hey, we think you own this,
Time for an upgrade?
yeah, or hey, there's a recall.
Hello, this
Right?
is Bob. I want to find out about
Yeah.
your extended warranty on your Cadillac.
right. So how does that all happen?
Bob.
So it's not about all this new technology and the online privacy. This has been happening for years, right?
Well, after all of that, I believe it's a good time we break for shots. 'cause
Do you think we should take a shot?
I think
Like, is this information? Is it resting heavy on your shoulders?
no, not really.
Okay, I was
But
saying,
there are others out there.
You probably should stop Googling that. Like if this has made you nervous, anybody out there watching or Brian specifically, just stop Googling it. It'll be okay.
Yeah.
I'm like the least private person online.
I'm the
dude.
same way. I'm like,
I'm married to someone who thinks that she is.
she's not. No,
But
everything's
more
out there.
so than me. Anyways, Alex, you being our guest, you get to choose our shots for the day.
Oh boy.
So,
Anything on the wall,
except
anywhere.
for the
yeah,
spicy pickle, because
Oh,
we did
I-
do that last time.
Okay.
And it is horrible.
I
I did make a face on the last show.
Like that
you isolated that for me. I
Speaking
appreciate it.
of local and relevant, then I think we need to do the St. Elmo's cherry vanilla.
Ah, there you go. We've never
Okay.
done that as a shot.
Good choice.
Yeah.
I usually mix this with a little Coke
Most people do. I think.
because this is your.
No, it's a shot.
But if
It's
you,
gonna be sweet, isn't it?
yes.
Oh man.
And have you ever had the St. Elmo's Coke? The St.
Yeah.
Elmo's.
Oh,
Coke?
yeah,
That's
absolutely.
what they make that with.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's fantastic.
I truly have never had this because I don't like cherry flavored things. Like cherry
There-
Coke is terrible.
Well, I
Okay,
apologize.
the drinking game that needs to be on the show isn't about Brad's trip.
Oh,
to,
that's one drinking
Like,
game.
there's a game that if I mention that we're going to Tequila on August 8th, you're supposed to take a drink. I think Brian should be really the massive, ubiquitous list of things he doesn't like.
Yes,
he
that-
doesn't like the 4th of July. It's amazing the things he doesn't like.
That, he keeps saying that it's false.
Well, he doesn't
I
like
just don't care
fireworks.
for fireworks.
No, that's fair.
It's not liking
I
4th.
love the 4th of
Fireworks are a representation,
They're
not
based-
the event.
Of
They're
wasting
very.
money.
4th of July is about our freedom and our
It is. They have freedom to blow stuff up.
All right. Well, cheers.
Cheers.
Alex, again, thanks for being here.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Gonna be sweet.
Not the same face I made from the pickle juice.
Let's be honest, that was terrible.
Yeah, it's not a great shot. It's
No, it's
I'm not going to
much
say great choice, but
much better
bad choice.
I'm
dipped
sorry.
in some cola.
Whoa,
You know my favorite
that
meme.
is a mixer.
My favorite meme for the 4th of July this year was I'm so excited that I get to pay taxes on the fireworks I'm going to blow up to express my freedom of paying taxes.
Yeah, on money you've paid taxes on.
multiple times. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I think we need to go maybe put some tea in that harbor again.
Hey, I was just in Boston for a week.
Did you like it?
Yes, I love Boston. I've been to Boston, I don't know, 50 times.
Red line, green line.
Working. Yeah,
I've
it's
never been to Boston.
It's pretty
Oh,
neat.
it's
It is
beautiful.
on my list of places.
you know
I
the
want
thing
to
about
go.
Boston is so interesting is
Cheers.
you're here. Yeah, I went to Cheers once.
It's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Which one, did you go to the real one or the one downtown?
I guess I don't know how to
Did
answer
you go
that
down in
question.
the basement?
Yes.
That's the real one.
Okay.
Then there was like a Cheers in the downtown area that
Yeah.
is not the real one.
Okay.
Is
okay.
the one that you go downstairs set up like the show?
No.
Okay.
And it's way smaller than what you think it would
Yeah, and
be.
then they have another one that's set up like the show,
That's the one downtown.
and then but it's not the one from the show. It's just a model of the one from the show,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
people love it. So
When you walk down in the one, you're like, this isn't Cheers.
yeah,
Related, and sorry, I'm
No, you go.
coming back to you. In New York City, there is supposedly the bar that How I Met Your Mother's bar
Yeah.
was patterned after.
no, right there.
Not,
Not
like
at
it
all. Yeah.
whatsoever.
No, it's
Not even close.
It's like Central Perk.
conceptual.
Yeah, they got some pictures in there from the show, but
Yeah.
no, not even.
And Central Perk, from Friends.
Yeah.
not even a place in New York.
Yeah.
Like, it didn't even exist. Like,
Exactly.
just on a set.
I've been to the one at Universal Studios
Well,
in
yeah.
California.
That was the real one.
Yes, no, but Warner Brothers, not Universal.
Yeah, if I see a random couch in New York, I'm not sitting on it.
No, that means there's bed bugs in it.
Yeah,
Oh,
there's
there's
more than bed bugs.
No doubt.
Probably. So Boston.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, I love Boston. The thing I like about Boston is, so the city was designed not for cars. It's horse and buggy, or just horses. Paul Revere style.
Right. And you could do the Paul Revere Trail. Thing.
Oh
It's
yeah,
pretty cool.
yeah, I've done that. So when you're driving through, you're turning. It's very narrow, and the buildings very close together. But I typically always stay at the Parker Omni House downtown, which is the oldest continually operated hotel in the United States.
Oh wow.
All right.
I think there's like 50 places who claim that.
Sure.
Like when you go around that city, then they're like, this is the oldest continuously operated restaurant in the city.
Of course.
So there's 6 of them, so you never really know.
Yeah.
It's like the best pizza in New York.
Right.
It's like, who had it first? But
Chicago.
Exactly.
in
That's
Indiana,
actually-
you go and you're driving on a country road and you see an old farmhouse. Like, that was built in 1890. Oh,
Right.
yeah, it's older. 1920. Can't believe it's still standing. So I'm walking out of the Omni Parker House, which is where Robert Kennedy proposed to Jackie O, right there in the bar there.
Oh, right on.
Right, it's right across from the State House. So a lot of history, and it's a very cool place. Supposed to be very haunted. I never heard anything. But I walk out one morning, and I'd been there for a year, been going a week a month, and I look up, and there's this big church building, and before I walk over to the office, and there's this big sign that says, the King's Church,
Yes. 1600 times. Yeah.
I'm like, whoa. You just like, it hits you.
Right.
This is very different than the Midwest, where everything's relatively very new, right?
Yeah.
But then you go to Europe, and you see something that was
Oh, yeah.
900 AD.
Oh, yeah,
you know, and
yeah,
you're
yeah,
like,
yeah. It's a whole next
like
level.
we think, oh man, that's old. You know,
Yeah.
and they're like,
You walk in the Coliseum.
Italy's like,
Yeah.
hold my beer. You want to see
Yeah,
old?
yeah.
Yes.
But Boston's
Sir.
cool because it's an hour and 40 minutes, wheels up, wheels down. You're there, and it's a whole new world. Yeah.
So
Very
anyway,
cool.
my daughter she did her postdoctoral at Tufts University in Medford. So we would take the red line downtown, and then there's that cemetery that's at like the top of the hill. Then you take the Paul Revere
Yeah.
Trail down into and go past Independence Hall, and it's really awesome. And I'm not a huge history person. My wife loved it, but what struck me, the thing I remember the most, is the smell when you turn onto the brick roads and you enter the Italian district.
Oh, baby. The old North End. Yeah.
And it's like there's
unbelievable.
10,000 Olive Gardens at the
yeah.
same time.
And they're making every other corner is a cannoli shop. It's
oh my gosh, they're just
unbelievable.
handing them out
Yeah.
like crack to get
Yeah.
you to come inside.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's amazing.
Just
Just like-
convinced me.
Yeah.
I'm going to Boston.
the smell of New York City is completely different.
It is.
Ass.
Yes.
Certain parts, yes.
We just like,
And most.
did everybody pee at the same
Yeah.
time?
I'm not a big New York fan.
To me, that's New Orleans.
Yeah.
Oh, see, I haven't been to New Orleans.
That
Yes.
Oh,
smells
yeah.
of piss.
Yeah,
That's
I was
rough.
told it smelled like vomit and spilt bourbon.
And piss.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
But the real estate in Boston is out of control.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I wouldn't want to live there, wouldn't want to work there. I love to visit.
Yeah.
I absolutely been everywhere. I love Indianapolis.
This is a great town to live in.
I
It really
love
is.
Indianapolis.
Did you grow up here?
Northern Indiana.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's from the Warsaw area.
Wausau. I went to Wawasee High School,
Okay.
Lake Wawasee.
So here's another thing that was kind of cool is when we met and we talked out here, then we figured out that a good friend of mine, Aaron Yoder, his parents own a bar in Wawasee. They owned Louis. And then your wife went to high school with
I went
Aaron.
to high
Oh, no,
school
you went to high
there.
school.
Yeah,
there.
yeah, I went to high school
Your
there.
wife went to school with Jay
Jay
Baker.
Baker. Yeah,
So
yeah.
then I know Jay Baker real well, and then we start, and it's
Yeah.
like this
Nice.
huge group of people that we all know. So I think there's really a bigger plan of the people that you meet and the
Yeah.
things you go through in life. There's a reason why it all happens, and it's not just because Brian needs to sell a house.
Yeah.
Right.
But
It
you
helps.
do. You do though.
I do, always.
Yeah, and you can buy a beautiful place here for a fraction of what you can anywhere
Oh,
else. in
yeah, it's
Boston.
crazy.
Anywhere.
So the real question is, if they're listening to everything that we say, and the NSA's back there categorizing our info,
They don't do that.
you don't think so? Are they?
Well, 100%.
100%.
Now, will they actually catalog it and go look at you? No, but are they listening to it all? Oh, 100%. I mean, I say that.
What's it got to take?
I have to accept that that's all happening,
Right.
And that we live in that world. Do I know they are? No, I don't know. I've never been there. I don't want to mix those lines, but of course they are.
You are
I
not
don't-
naive enough to think that it's not happening.
Right? Yeah.
I don't want to try to find out the threshold, but I wonder what the threshold is before they show up at your door.
Really, that's a pretty good point, because you're right. Yes, I truly believe that people are listening and whatever, but how many interns do you have that are copying down all the shit for hundreds of millions of people, right?
Right.
What is the threshold of what you say and look up that, hey, hello, Brad, we're here to talk to you about your internet search.
Like I can see my guy. He's like, hey, Bill, how's your day going today? Oh, Nick, I'm told another dad joke. And he's telling somebody about tequila again. And isn't there like a Dahmer family that I could listen to for a little while?
Right? I've been on this job for a month, and we have a new intern that can take over
I'm
this
just
call.
tired of listening to this guy. Yeah, I would think that's got to be how it goes.
I think it happens all the time, and I don't think we hear about most of it.
Sure.
That's the problem. Is
Well,
we don't even know.
Believing in the good in people, I think that the majority of people aren't being nefarious.
Vast 99.999%.
And I'm stoked to use the word nefarious because that's one of my favorite words.
Thank
That's a
you.
great one.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So there was a movie, and I know Tom Cruise was in it. It's an older movie, and the thing I remember the most is when he walked down the street in front of the stores would talk to him about the stuff they had for sale that he wanted. What was the movie?
Minority Report.
Minority Report. I feel like we're living in a little bit, sort of, the Minority
To an
Report.
extent, you are not on a broad level of walking in the mall and seeing screens change just for you.
Yeah.
But your phone is that screen.
Yeah.
Essentially.
But if somewhere it could go, hey, Brad, Fort Deliza's in here. And I could turn and go in there and get the Fort
You'd be all
Deliza
over
tequila
that.
I've been looking for forever.
But I will say it's happening in reverse. So you see digital billboards everywhere, right? And when you go and it'll say tonight, Clips, or is it called Clips?
It's called
Ruoff.
it's a mortgage company we don't talk about.
Oh,
It's the
sorry,
Verizon Wireless.
Verizon.
Verizon-
Deer Creek,
River Creek,
tonight,
Deer Creek.
right, whatever it is. But what happens is there are sensors on those monitors. So you're driving by. So if I advertise on that, right? Let's say I'm Peterman Brothers,
Right.
or
That-
whatever
yeah.
the plumbing companies are.
Peterman
right?
Brothers, HVAC and plumbing, they do a
battle,
great job.
right? And so they want to know, hey, I'm trying to talk to how many of my customers, how many of these people did this, did that, and it senses. So when that phone goes by and that device ID, bloop, bloop, it does know in reverse. So while it doesn't change for you when you drive by, it does track you when you drive by. And it can
Holy
say,
cow.
hey, I served a television ad to Brian last night.
Because
And guess what? He also saw my billboard. I don't know that you saw it,
Right.
But you drove past
physically
it.
drove by it. Hopefully your eyes were on the road.
So one of my former students.
his were on the phone. He was doing it. TikTok.
Former student who I got a house for last year, where Sean Daniels is, the time I met him is actually in technology for Peterman Brothers.
Okay.
There you go.
Odd connection, right there.
Yeah, yeah. I see their ads a lot.
So absolutely, when Mr. Peterson stepped down and the boys took it over, their marketing like blew up.
Oh,
and they're
yeah.
a Greenwood company.
They're everywhere, yeah.
So if you're a person that has, would you say small business, mid-sized business, like what's a good business size that could come to you and go, this is something that I want to do?
Anybody with an ad budget, right?
Okay.
So if you're at that point, we work with major national brands across the country that we all know and love, and we also work with the local car wash, and we work with the local auto shop, and everything in between. Really, it all comes down to your budget doesn't seem big if you're trying to reach the United States or
Right.
Chicagoland area. But if you're trying to reach the 5 or 6 zip codes right around your store, right? Or if you're trying to reach the people who are interested in your niche product in Indianapolis area, right? Then all of a sudden it doesn't seem like a small budget, right? So, yeah.
So here's a question, because going to real estate, right? Realtors have been known for what we call farming.
Yep.
Right. So what does a realtor do when they're farming?
So they're essentially picking an area that they're advertising to, whether it's a neighborhood, an entire subdivision, potentially a zip code, where you're trying to get somebody who may be thinking about selling their house
Right.
to be like, yeah, hey, I have been thinking about that. Let's go with that guy.
So a guy that's been a realtor in Indianapolis for a long time, Larry Rasmussen.
We've talked about Larry before.
Yeah, he's an extremely successful realtor. And one of the things that he taught back in the early 2000s when we worked together a lot was you go knock on those doors. And he'd put on his suit, his tennis shoes, and he'd have a flyer, and literally he'd pick the neighborhood. This is a guy selling, at the time, $30, $40, $50 million a year in real estate when homes didn't cost $1 million, right? And he'd knock on the door, and he'd meet the neighbors. I'm the local realtor here, and he'd farm that neighborhood. Technically, a realtor today could farm a neighborhood with probably a better turn rate than knocking on that door today, because today people want to shoot you.
In the 4 years that I have done this, never once have I just randomly knocked on someone's door.
Maybe you'd have 10 more listings.
Maybe I would.
That's what Larry would tell you.
Are you closing $40 million a year?
And you're right. I'm not.
Kidding.
And I fully understand that is an old school way of doing
But-
it, and people have been ultra successful doing
Yeah.
it. But like I think you just said, somebody shows up at your door with a gun, get off my front porch.
Yeah.
And COVID happened, and people didn't want you anywhere near them.
Right.
Yeah.
All of that, I think,
Oh, it's
has
totally
turned.
different. Now, if a neighbor shows up and they didn't text you and say I'm stopping by, and the door knocks, you go, get quiet. Get down.
Yeah, we don't know him here.
We don't know.
And I'm not
don't
saying
answer
that.
the
I
door.
mean, it still may be an effective
terrible.
thing in some areas.
I think
some
for
people may
people
be good
it
at it, but now I think really you could take this to say, look, I want to farm these 7 subdivisions, and I want to be the agent that shows up in their info all the time.
Mm-hmm.
That just kind of triggered an idea. So let's say I wanted to go with that, such as I have an open house coming up in a particular neighborhood this next weekend, or maybe it's a little farther out the following weekend.
Right.
Is it small enough that you would do something where I could create like an ad that could show up into that neighborhood's phone services for an
Do you
open
want to do
house?
a thing in an open house where a neighborhood is, or do you want to do it with potential renters that would want to come look at that open house?
Both, to be
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah, it would just.
I mean,
I mean, depends on how small the neighborhood is. If it's 6 houses, right?
Yeah,
It's a little tough.
We got 3 of them, and they were renters.
Yeah. But no, absolutely. I mean, that is exactly the concept. Wow. And you can absolutely do that.
And to the point where I could say I want this to run for a 24-hour period. It can be something that small.
It could.
I'm
could
sure
be.
cost effective
Yeah.
is probably not a great idea.
Cost effective, and what's the scale? Because now you're looking at, let's say, 1,000 people. How many of them are going to be watching TV with an ad
That's
that we
what.
have access to within 12 hours?
Yeah.
Right. So there's some scale limitations, but the answer is yes.
Yes, so it's doable. All right.
For
So-
those who do watch.
I did ask generically.
Yeah.
But if I want to farm these maybe 2,000 home neighborhoods,
Yeah.
and I want to farm those at a realtor that can bring a service to him to list that house for sale. And I'm going to sign up for a 12-month program to where I'm going to be the agent that always shows up on their stuff.
Yeah.
Now when they go to think about selling, I think you're maybe not top of mind, but your mind,
Yeah.
Yep.
right? So, their neighbor may go,
Man, I used Bill. He sold my house.
and they're like, yeah, but I seen that Brian Quinlan guy, and he mentioned in his ad that he did, like he worked at Center Grove, and I
Yeah.
think he's a very famous voiceover guy.
He really is.
And, so I'm
That's
talking about
exactly
doing the
right,
same
yeah.
thing, about doing some branding ads to where I show up on every realtor in the metropolitan area's television all the time,
Yeah.
right?
I can't wait till you show
Yeah,
up
it's
on my
called
TV.
signal data. Those we call it is, what is the signal data? So if you're in market for something, what signal data are we getting that might indicate that you're in market to sell your home, in market to buy a home, in market to refi, whatever the case is.
No one's doing that.
Yeah. And
No one's refinancing.
That's what I meant.
But
yeah.
the time will come. So
Not till interest rates drop to 6.5, and then 9 million people can refinance.
Awesome.
and what are the indicators that somebody might be ready to buy a home? A new job, an influx of cash somehow.
Searching
married.
Zillow all day long.
Right. There's a lot of different things, right? Is now a good time to sell my home, right? Indicators that could come out, signal data, that would then help us build an audience for you to reach who you're trying to reach.
I mean, I think that's I don't know that there's a lot of agents or independent mortgage people that are looking at doing things like that or even know that you can do it.
I would say I guarantee there aren't.
Yeah. So what's going to happen now is we're not going to publish this podcast.
No.
Because we don't want any of the mortgage realtors to know.
But again, we've only got 7 followers and
There's
viewers. 7 viewers.
64.
Right. But only 7 of them actually watch. One of them's Fred.
Fred,
And he's using you and me. One
He
of
is.
them is my wife, and if she uses another realtor, we got problems.
Yeah, but in 5 years, when you're nationwide and all of a sudden this has 6 million views,
yeah, that's what I'm
then we have
saying.
a problem. Yeah,
That's what's
true.
happened. I truly believe in the internet famous thing's going to happen.
I'm excited for it.
Do you have any other questions you can think of that would be like? I know you don't say a lot of things that are pertinent sometimes, and you take things off the rails.
Yeah.
Oh wait, maybe
I
that's
do.
me. That's probably me.
I do. I'm well known for that. I really don't.
That's it.
Yeah.
Talk market real fast. Where we at? What's happening?
The actual real estate market.
Yes.
Holy cow! A guest wants us to talk about real estate.
I love it.
Wasn't this the week there was supposed to be like financial news things coming out?
Tomorrow's the big one. PCE.
Tomorrow. We're a little early.
Tomorrow's PCE. It's the producers or the price consumer index, which happens to be the one that the Fed likes the most. It's expected to be either 0% increase in inflation or potentially a 0.1% drop.
That's
Is that
awesome.
second time in a row?
Actually, it's like the third indicator.
Okay, third. Yeah.
We had jobless claims yesterday or this morning. It was either yesterday or this morning. I don't remember, but it wasn't good. We're in a political year. Doesn't matter which office is in charge. They don't want unemployment to look like it's going up.
Right.
Yeah.
So literally, everyone could be unemployed, and the thing's going to say,
not gonna report.
it's great.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Find a metric that works and say it's great.
and they actually removed from an explanation that I've got that was explained on this video I watched was they removed part of the death component because there's so many jobs that are lost every month because somebody just dies.
Yeah,
People
it happens.
die. And there's actuaries know all of those numbers. Your life insurance guy knows what the probability of you dying at a certain time and why it's okay to sell you life insurance, right? So they put that into all these other, and there's part of the report that they just kind of omitted it, this one. So it showed that jobs didn't drop as far as
Yeah.
they should have. And they're like, well, normally it would have dropped this much more percentage because of the death number that's now been left out. So it left it a little high. The bond market didn't like it. And then mortgage apps were way down. Existing home sales were actually the lowest that they've been so far this year.
Yeah, bad.
And it's not from demand. It's from supply. We still have some of the lowest supply that we've had. But the thing that I seen this week that I thought was the most impressive and encouraging about our market is we're sitting in two things. The main thing for selling homes is people are in what's called the locked-in effect. It's where their interest rate is low, and for them to move up, their payment goes so much bigger than what they currently have. They can't afford that move up. If they sell, they're going to buy their same house for a higher payment.
Yep.
So in some surveys, they found that most people would be more interested in selling their home if interest rates were just 1 point to 1.5 points higher than whatever they have. So there are 6 million people that have an interest rate above 6.5. So there's 4 million people that have an interest rate above 7.5. So if interest rates would drop to 6.5, that's 4 million people that
fires
may
it
be
up.
interested in selling their house. If we
Fire it
drop
up.
to 5.5, there's over 9 million people that
9
could
million more.
9 million more people
Wow.
that could then come out of that locked-in effect. And it's reversed to the refinance world, right? People need at least a 0.5 point to look at refinancing. So at like 6 5/8, there's like 2 million people that of a loan that's been written since 2022. If it goes to 6.5, it was like another 2 million people. If it goes to 5.5, it's like 9 million people
Yeah.
could refinance.
Dang.
And last year, 2023, purchases and refinances combined, only 4 million mortgages written in the entire United States. At 5.5, 9 million people could refinance. And at 5.5, over 9 million people now are in a place where they potentially could want to sell their house and buy another house. Doesn't mean they all will.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, for sure.
Right.
I mean, I'll be paid off. I don't care what rates are. I'm not buying
Yeah.
another house. I'm stuck
not.
here forever. You're not either, right? But,
Yeah.
but if you think of those things, it's a really positive thing for not only mortgage people, and real estate people.
Yep.
But it's real positive for people who have homes because we're going to continue to have a shortage in inventory because we still have a growth in millennials. We still have a massive demand for housing. We're not meeting that demand in new builds. In fact, those are slowing down.
The baby boomers aren't selling their houses.
Yeah,
Baby boomer. I mean, we got to
Dying
wait
off
on them
quite
to
yet.
die to get out of their house, right?
Yeah.
So if you own a house and you can't afford to buy another one right now, the beauty is, and that value is growing like crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Case Shiller showed, another 0.3% raise month over month, 6.3% year over year on average nationwide. It's a great time for housing.
Yeah. I
So
think the biggest mistake is somebody who has the dollars to buy, renting, and says, I'm going to wait for interest rates to go down.
And
It's so bass backwards, it's not even funny.
that's not the dumbest thing I hear. I hear them say, well, I'm waiting on the market to crash.
it's
Okay, let's say it does, and it's '08 again. And you take all the foreclosures out of '08, because those are the homes that went backwards in price.
Right.
The people that maintained their home, paid their payment, and lived in their house, you know what their values went backwards by? 0.1%.
Yeah.
And one of the indicators that you can look at to see that housing prices didn't go backwards is Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac's conventional loan limit. The conventional loan limit is based on an average of what homes sell for in each area. And it didn't go backwards in '08. It didn't go backwards in '09. It didn't go backwards in 10. It didn't go backwards in 11. It grew in 12, right? So home prices, just like everything else, I can't buy a Coke for a quarter like I did as a senior in high school. And I'm never, ever going to be able to. And people tell me, oh, houses are so expensive. A Ford King Ranch pickup truck is $97,000.
Yeah.
And you ain't buying that for 40 grand
In
ever
6
again.
years, there's rust in the hull and it's gone.
And in 6 years, it's going to be 112.
Yeah.
So I think we're in a great, great state for the market, at least until I retire.
Well, I would say for what is left of the real estate year, which pretty much goes till about end of October, of actually buying and selling, I think it's going to get better.
Yeah, he says that, but my December was better than my November.
Oh, well, all right.
So I think it's a mindset. And sometimes I think that mindset does come from realtors.
I would
I think they're
absolutely
like,
agree.
Man, it's December. No one's going to buy, so I'm going to take the month off.
Well, I don't do that.
You golfed all of June and July.
Hey, I did golf this week.
I'm just kidding. But yeah, I think there's a little bit of a mindset. I think if you buckle down to look for the people that are going to move, you find those. But also, I understand our hours are crazy. I mean, I'm at my desk at 6 in the morning. I'm usually not done till 6 or 7 o'clock at night. I know that you're busy in the morning. I know you're showing homes at night. And sometimes you get to November and you're like, man, it's the holidays. No one's going to buy houses because I ain't going to show them.
I say I'm not that guy, but yes, I can see where that is portrayed.
You may not want to make quite as many calls.
Yeah.
You
Probably
know,
true.
they're not. I'm not going to call them
Yeah.
today because they're planning for Thanksgiving.
They've already told me they're not going to do
It's
anything
November
until,
1st, but they're looking for
after
turkeys.
The
Yeah.
holidays.
Like I love those excuses that I make for myself. Like I was going to call him this morning, but it's too early,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna wait on that one.
Yeah.
And then
that's just not real estate. That is everybody in sales.
I was going to call that guy, but it's 10:30 and he's thinking about lunch.
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah,
going to wait
thinking
till
about it.
2.
Yeah.
And then at 2:30, I'm like, oh, you know what? He's probably thinking about going home. I'll call him tomorrow.
Yeah, I don't want to offend him if I send him a text.
It's kind of late.
Yeah.
Like
Take
that's
a
a
nap.
sales guy thing, right?
Afternoon nap.
I don't. So I can tell you that never have I ever said I'm going to take an after. I could be on my deathbed and I'm not
I will
taking an
say,
after.
I do.
nap. Okay.
I will occasionally go out to
know
my
what?
car, I'm working, and I'm like, I need 15 minutes. And I go out there, man, and I put that seat back. I'm out.
There you go.
Now,
And
see,
then I'm back in action. Some people can't do that.
I can't do
love
it.
a power nap.
And when I feel like that,
Oh,
you know what I
could
do?
it, man.
I feel groggy. I get a Red Bull. That's
you
what I do.
go.
I get a
Well,
Red
yeah.
Bull.
There you go.
If I take a 15-minute nap, not sleeping all night long. It's like the worst thing for me.
yeah, it
so like
does depend on time of
I've,
day
I've
for
like
me.
fell asleep in the chair in there watching like a boring show with my wife, and then I wake up and I go, oh, dang it.
Yeah, and you
I'm
saw
gonna be watching
you
Fox
saw
News till-
relevant advertisement that like boom.
Man, I bought the pillow. I got the slippers and the pillow and the sheets and everything, and I still can't sleep. I'm still watching Fox News till 4 a.m.
Okay, now we're going to shift gears here because we did kind of transition away from the tech talk. I don't have the big hat on today.
You don't. Why don't
I
you?
wore this hat specifically.
I don't know what it means.
Well, while recording this, tomorrow is a very big day in the sports world.
Olympics
you know?
opening ceremony.
Thank you.
What do you
Tomorrow
say?
was the opening ceremony of the Summer Olympics.
Okay,
You
so
know why I know that?
because they bought
We sold a
advertising.
ton of advertising.
Yeah.
Okay, so now can I say something
Go
that's
ahead.
like you hate in the 4th of
No, it's
July?
okay.
I hate the Olympics.
That's okay.
Why?
I'm not a huge,
I like regular TV.
Yeah.
I don't like. I wanted to watch FBI, but now I'm going to watch people swimming.
Are there any Summer Olympic sports that you have a vague interest in?
Zero.
Okay. Well, we're done.
That is a battle out for America.
And he says
What?
that I'm anti-America because I
No.
don't like fireworks, right?
Listen, I want America to win. I just don't want to watch them
hates
doing
America.
You
it.
don't
Like,
watch them do it.
I'm not a like. I don't want to watch track. I don't want to watch people swim. I don't want to watch people dive. I don't want to watch men in those small bathing suits.
I got a good
Make
one
you
for
uncomfortable,
I'm gonna come
Brad?
back to it in just a second. Alex,
You know what they call a little pickle, don't you?
Gherkin.
so are there any particular sports that when the Olympics roll around, you're like, you know what? I'm going to watch that, though, on a normal Saturday afternoon. You ain't watching that.
Oh, man. I like to watch. So at the office, we have it streaming.
Okay.
Coverage started yesterday.
Yes.
Events
soccer started yesterday.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's on, it's running.
They've already had a field storming in soccer. It's a huge
Right,
story.
Yeah. And so
Yes.
there's a lot happening. It's totally fun. It is the international battlefield without death, Brad.
Yeah,
Ideally.
but some of the sports are weird now. There's like, well, we got paperclip tossing.
Nope. There is one. I'm going to come back to it, Brad. You're going to be excited.
But I love wrestling. It's not super popular.
Yeah, okay.
I do love wrestling.
Like WWE, they have like the Hulk Hogan in there.
Greco-Roman.
See, I'd have dug it if it was like the Macho Man.
Nope, not scripted.
Get your Slim Jim.
Now, I do have a personal. My cousin was in the Olympics.
No
Okay.
way. For
Yeah,
what?
first cousin. Men's triathlon.
Oh,
No, that's a badass
He's an
fact.
animal. He's an
Wow.
animal.
And I do
And,
know this: if he
Beijing
was a
is when
woman, he could not be in the triathlon.
That's-
They don't have it for women.
For real?
Oh, really?
Yeah, they only have the hepathon or something.
Oh, I thought you went all
True.
political on us with that.
No.
female, male
That's
comment.
actually
No, you're
it's
it's
saying
a
that.
thing
I
they're
didn't know
fighting
that.
for.
Yeah.
They want to be able to do the same.
Stuff. What is it? That's the same bug that's been here for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Alyssa,
Yeah, he's
So, okay, so wrestling,
I love wrestling. I love watching the triathlon just because I got interested when my cousin was in it right now.
not a great TV sport.
Those jeans didn't make it this far.
he's wearing two of his jeans. I know there's speed rock climbing in the
Yes,
Olympics.
It's
that's
incredible.
a new sport.
It is
Yeah,
incredible.
you're like climbing 7 stories in 15
8
seconds.
seconds.
Come
yeah.
on, you're
And
right.
my son and my daughter-in-law are both rock climbers.
Cool.
But I'm not going to watch.
All right. So for me, whenever I think of Summer Olympics, something I would not normally watch, like track and field, I really wouldn't
Yeah.
just watch that on a regular Saturday afternoon, right? Gymnastics comes to mind. It's grown, in popularity since like '84. Just
Oh,
keeps going up, right? Swimming is always
yeah.
that's a whole week. So the way the Olympics are set up, you have swimming week 1, you have track and field week 2.
Yeah.
Which trades off. You would know this.
Yeah.
If you ever feel like you got a worthless job, think of the lifeguard at the Olympic swimming
There
pool.
you go.
Yeah,
That's
or
really good.
or so I live in Carmel, and at the community pool I'm at, right, and the lifeguard's there, and somebody asked me, "Hey, do you know anybody in the Olympics?" Because there's like how many? I'd
There's
say
several.
kids, not kids, but how many? Athletes from Carmel? It's like 12 that made it. And he's like, yeah, I'm kind of best friends with these two guys, and he's literally watching my fat butt jump off the pool and drinking Coors Light at the pool, and he's like, I'm gonna go downtown and watch the trials because he didn't make it. It's like,
Excellent.
Hey, Peppy, when I hit the bottom, drag me up out of
yeah,
here.
yeah. And then you feel pretty bad for him. He's like, it's a rough job.
And hand me a Coors Light when you pull my ass out.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's right.
This year, a brand new event in the Summer Olympics, break dancing.
Yeah, I don't know why you think I,
heard
would get
that.
excited about that.
That is,
I heard
if
that.
you're talking about like stupid events.
Like we were
Like,
breakdancers in the 80s. Like we
Yes,
did that in school.
absolutely.
But as for an Olympic sport,
Hey,
yeah, I saw that. I was like, you got to be kidding me.
Like,
what
why-
are you
that's
doing?
not even
but
a
we should
sport.
watch it, right? Because We're all judging, but we haven't watched it yet.
I'm not going to. I mean,
I would say every time I've been in New York City and seen someone do it on a piece of cardboard, I'm pretty
You're probably
impressed.
standing there watching, right?
I am pretty impressed.
Okay, on
yeah.
the day it's going to be on, I am going to put on a windbreaker and wear some Adidas shoes.
Oh, I
Yeah.
can't wait. We're
Throw
gonna-
my hat backwards, listen to a little Run DMC, but I ain't watching it.
Yeah.
Ah,
yeah.
that's awesome. All right. Well,
Maybe you
anyway,
will.
so by the time this airs, which is Sunday, we'll already have 3 days worth of Olympic events in the books.
So how many days does it go?
It's always 17 days. So it
17
starts
days,
on
so-
this Friday, the 26th, and then it'll go through the following Sunday in August.
Just to be
USA.
fair, okay?
to be fair.
I don't like it when the Stanley Cup's on. I don't like it when the marathon of baseball games to
Yep.
get to the
It's
end.
called the World Series.
I don't understand why they
You know
have
why?
to have 7
Because
games
Brad thinks
of
that we
basketball.
should all be in the field selling houses.
Well, no,
He's like, why is my phone ringing?
He wants
Okay,
a
so
one-time event.
Get these damn kids off my lawn.
I am that guy. I don't want kids on my lawn. But why can't they be like the NFL where you play a game, if you lose, you lose? How come you get 7 tries in the NBA? I don't want to watch 7 games.
I have no problem with what you're saying.
Yep.
NCAA basketball tournament is exciting because it is a one and done.
My favorite thing about March is the end of it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not that guy.
Hey, you know
either.
why?
I like to make money. I like
It's
to do
dollars, baby. No, that's why. Well, why you can get ad revenue on one game,
Okay, so I should.
or
I'll
you can
that.
get
I
ad
should
revenue
advertise.
on 7 games.
All right, well, he's got me there.
Dollars. I mean, that is what you want to know why. That's the answer.
Is,
Why?
is it a whole nother discussion to say that some of this is rigged so that it goes 7 games? Do you know?
I don't.
anything
I
about
don't even know
stuff?
that it's a discussion. If it is, it's 100% that it is.
I mean, how can they really rig it? I mean, that's the thing. How do
No,
they?
come
Oh,
on.
that-
Did you watch the documentary? I can't remember the name of it now, but the guy totally admits he's like, no, I can rig any game 3 or 4 points either way.
Just the refs?
Yes. Yes.
And
Actually,
no one
a
knows.
ref went to prison because
Yeah.
of it. Well,
And he admits it. He says how he did it.
it was a Netflix documentary.
Yes.
It's
Huh?
rather fascinating, actually.
Oh, it's out of control.
So how they say like NASCAR is rigged.
Donahue?
How do you rig?
Yeah, that sounds right.
How do you rig car racing?
I don't know about
Now
that.
that I don't know.
Because the referee never goes out there and
And I'll
blows
say,
a whistle.
But I'll say,
Well,
with-
you heard that it was rigged from the guy who lost, right?
Well, that's-
so that happens.
But that's
too.
usually the people that say it's rigged.
Yeah.
so what
you
I'll
know?
say is car racing
I don't think
is
it's
different
real.
than what we're talking about because car racing is a one event thing.
True.
What do you
As
mean?
as
no,
in
wait,
a-
in NASCAR, you go up to the playoffs. You have to score enough points to get into the playoffs.
Yeah,
then
yeah,
the
yeah.
last half. Now, if you're going to go for the
I'm thinking of
championship, you
just
got to
like
have a
single
win.
Event doesn't have like 3
Yeah, but
events to get
nobody
to that
remembers the year. What do they remember?
The winner.
As long as you qualify, right, for Daytona, as long as you qualify for Talladega, as long
Yeah,
as you
but-
qualify for the 500.
But tell me all the people that qualified for Talladega, and then tell me who the winners are. You don't remember the qualifiers. You remember the winner.
Jimmy Johnson.
Right.
Jimmy
One
Johnson
event.
won a lot.
One
What was his-
event.
What was his number?
48.
48. That's right. Who did he drive for?
I don't know.
Hendrick Motorsports.
You know, we
He
know.
had
We
the-
know. Wonder Bread.
He had
Shake and bake, baby.
He had the Lowe's. He was Lowe's, right?
Shake and bake.
Dale Earnhardt. What was his number?
3.
Number 3. That's
If
right.
you don't chew Big Red.
He didn't chew Big Red? I don't chew Big Red. It makes me sick. He's throwing out Talladega Nights.
Yeah, I
yeah,
know.
I know.
We got to move on.
I'm good.
I'll switch it back to Anchorman. That's the good show. Milk was a bad choice.
Again, I haven't seen the movie.
He's not
Still.
seen Anchorman.
Still.
Ah.
I know it's wrong.
You know,
that I
here's the
haven't.
problem. Don't watch it. You know why? Because it's built up so much when you
Yeah,
watch it, you're
I
going to
mean,
go, that's not funny.
that's a good point. And
I've
I've
done
seen
that before
some.
where people have built up something
I don't
so
know.
much and they're like, I got to go back and watch that. And then you go back and you're expecting so much that it isn't. And then it's a letdown.
There's the scene in Anchorman where they talk about bringing on Mrs. Cornerstone. And the 4 guys are all together and they're like, we can't have a woman. It's dangerous. She's like, why is it dangerous? The bears can tell when they menstruate and they'll attack the office and kill us all. Do you remember?
It is stupid.
And then Steve Carell's like,
And now if you watch that, it'd be like, this isn't funny.
It
at
won't be
all.
funny to you
No,
now.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
just stop ruining it.
but
for me.
Mrs.
I'll watch
Cornerstone, she proved that didn't happen.
it. Okay. Good. Good.
There's a lot of great lines from that one, too, like milk
yeah.
was a bad choice.
Oh,
or
yeah.
All right.
San Diego.
Yeah.
That's Spanish for whale vagina.
Yeah, top 10.
No, it's not. Well, we will disagree. We will agree to disagree.
Oh, Lordy.
It's the pleats in the pants.
Let's end the show, Brad. Alex, I want to thank you for being here today.
Yeah,
No doubt.
appreciate it.
This
Thanks
was
for the invite.
enlightening, and we really appreciate it. Brad, as always, thanks for
Thanks for
hosting.
doing it. Remember, if you are a small business and you want to do some advertising with Alex, his number's been on the screen multiple times. It'll be
It's also
located over
right
there.
down there.
And he definitely will be able to tell you if it's something that you can do. And you won't be disappointed in what he can put together for you.
Rock and roll. And if you're going to buy a house or you want to get it right or sell a house
It's us.
We got you
or
covered.
you just want to tour something you can never afford,
Oh, you want to call and waste
it's
our
fun.
time?
It's
we,
fun.
It is.
We love wasting our
It
time.
is fun.
I'm fine with it. If it's a nice house, I'll go. All right, till next time.
Cheers.
Real estate makes
Cheers.
us drink. Cheers.